Good morning, good afternoon, good night. I am Ryan Cook. Whatever time you're watching this video, thanks for watching Common Sense Fishing.
I'm still out there. Oh my God.
Perfect, I like that.
Oh my God, oh my God. Oh my God, get the net, get the net. It's a DD. Get the net, bro, please get the net. Oh my God, this is a DD.
Hey, what's up guys? Nick the Informative Fisherman here, and you're watching Common Sense Fishing. Check it out.
Bam.
When they're monsters like that, they can, huh?
What you looking at? So one of the tips and tricks I want to give you guys, especially fishing shallow bodies of water, again, short leader, right? You don't want a long leader. Second is a light weight. Use a very light weight. And especially if you're fishing in a place that has hydrilla, that has weeds and grass, that allows your bait to just kind of stay on the top, and you can pop it and move it along easier without, you know, snagging up and getting piles of that hydrilla and weed. Because also in the winter time, a lot of the time the bite will feel just like something a little extra heavy, like not quite right, like as if you have some weeds. And if you're just tugging along or popping along, you might tug or pop that hook right out of the fish's mouth because you didn't do it hard enough, but you did it just enough to let the fish know, hey, you know, that's not bait, right? Also, guys and gals, I want to give a shout out to Ryan Cook. Make sure you check him out on Facebook. He's an awesome dude, great guide, very knowledgeable. And what I would recommend is give him a call for all your fishing needs. He's doing guided trips, and he's also doing, I believe, phone consultations. So if you don't have the time to get out on the lake and you want to know, hey, where should I be fishing in these mother lode lakes right now? What should I be throwing? Give him a call. He'll put you on them. So thanks, Ryan Cook. And also support local. He's got hats and shirt and other stuff for sale. So check them out. And we'll see you guys on the next fish.
Hey, yo, Ryan.
What's happening?
What's up? Wanted to ask you a couple of quick questions.
A little Q&A right here?
Yeah, exactly. Want to try to help everybody out, see what we can do.
I'm all about helping.
So right now, it is mid-January. We're midwinter. And we've still probably got about a month and a half at least until we're looking into pre-spawn for sure, or somewhere around there. So what would you recommend, or what would be your biggest tip or trick for the tail end of this winter fishing these mother lode lakes?
So this winter, the biggest mistake I've seen people make out on the water on my boat, and me myself making it, everybody's fishing too fast. You've got to slow down. You've got to slow your bait down. You've got to slow your boat down. You've got to slow your reflexes down when you get a bite. Everything is moving slower in this colder water. The fish that the fish are eating, the crawdads, everything. Everything needs to slow down. That is my biggest tip. It's not so much even a depth thing. Right now, the fish are pretty scattered on our mother lode lakes. We've got fish from 90 and deeper, and I've been catching a lot of fish right on the bank right now. So, but everything I'm doing is slow. That's the main key. And really quick, another thing I want to talk about while we got the camera out. February 28th, guys, I've got an Ed Lacy Memorial Tournament I am throwing along with the Gold Country Bass Tour. If you don't know who the Gold Country Bass Tour is, it's a great organization that gets kids out fishing. Simple as that. Better than that, they get them out fishing tournaments, and it's amazing. So I work with them. I had a client pass away, super close to me, awesome old guy, kind of like a grandpa, by the name of Ed Lacy. He had a big heart for these kids. He loved what I did with the group and what the group does for the kids, I should say. And so we're going to throw him a memorial tournament to kind of honor his life, and it's going to be an annual thing. And the proceeds are going to go to the kiddos. So February 28th, Don Pedro, Fleming Meadows. If you are interested, hit me up, hit Sam up. He'll get you in contact with me, whatever we need to do. Also, we're looking for raffle prizes. If you guys know of anybody, you guys have anything, Sam's going to donate a bunch of stuff. I'm going to donate a bunch of stuff. We've got a lot of people donating, but we need more, guys. The more we can get, the more money we can get to this club, the more kids we get out on the water, and hopefully the less kids end up on the streets from drugs and alcohol and things like that, because you do not understand the power that fishing holds over these kids with keeping their minds healthy. and off of things that can get them in trouble. So help out any way you can, guys, and let me know if you have any ideas. Please reach out.
Yeah, and I'll be there. Common sense, I'll be at that tournament. So thanks for those tips and tricks, and hopefully we'll stick another one, but we're about to head off soon. Having a blast.
Having a blast. What is up, folks? I'm going to talk to you guys real quick about a couple knots that I use. I only use 2 knots when I'm fishing, and the first one is called a uni knot. So when I'm tying my line to the bait, this is the knot that I tie. You run it through the eye of the hook once. Give yourself a decent tag end. You want about 8 inches. I'm going to grab these 2 lines right here and pinch them, and I'm going to wrap this line around these 2 6 times. So I'm going to make a loop right here, and I'm going to wrap over these 2 under this one 6 times. So I'm going to go over those 2 under that one once, twice. I'm going to go over and under 3 times, over and under 4 times. It's really hard to see, guys, but if you go on YouTube and search this uni knot, there's going to be a bunch of like zoomed in videos with big thick line. You can see it better, but for right now, so that's 5 and that's 6. What I'm going to do, take that tag end, I'm going to pull it where it's almost snug, wet that down all the way down, get that to where it's basically not tight, but just barely snug, and then I'm going to pull this down very smooth. Now this is the key with fluorocarbon. Everything needs to be smooth. Pull it down slow, smooth. It's going to cinch down right there. Pull that tag in tight. I'm going to get it snug, and that's it. The days of cranking on it, pulling on it 5, 6 times with the old mono, that's no good. We don't want to do that anymore. That's going to break your knot. Get it snug, clip it off, and you're good to go. That is a uni knot. We'll be back later to show you guys how to tie the Alberto knot.
All right, so just wanted to ask a quick question. It is mid-January. We still got some winter time to go here. What would be your best tip or trick for people struggling right now in the winter time?
Slow down. Slow everything down. Slow your bait down. Slow your boat down. Slow your trolling motor speed down. Slow your reflexes down. Everything. So when the water gets cold, everything gets cold, it slows down. The crawdads slow down, the bait fish slow down, the bass slow down, everything. So you need to slow down. Do not move your bait as fast. Don't move it as often. Dead stick your bait quite a bit. People do not realize the importance of being able to dead stick a bait, or how important being able to dead stick a bait is. Most of the fish we're catching right now, I just talked about this on a podcast.
She's a pig, guys. She's a pig. Ooh, this is a nice one. I don't have a net right now. Hope I can get it. She's barely hooked. Oh, God, don't come on. Don't come on. Yeah. Ha ha. Drop shot, baby. Right in the upper lip right there. So she wasn't coming off unless my drag wasn't set. See, I didn't get full penetration. See, if I would have popped a little harder, right, and the lure would have came out like that, this fish would have never gotten off, right, unless it snapped my line. But it was dug in there kind of like this, if you can see that. So little baits catch big fish. Slow down and just drag it like my tips and tricks show you. Now we're going to get into some other lures, some other presentations, but I hope you enjoyed the excitement. Thanks for watching. So right now, if you're fishing a place like Kelsey, a pond, or you're fishing a place that's a shallow body of water, kind of the same principle as the lakes, right? We tell you go to main lake points or go to the back of creeks, and also they can be up shallow kind of sunning, you know, or eating crawdads and stuff, or they can be out deep 50, 60 feet of water eating the bait fish. Same principle here. They'll be in the deepest part of the pond where there is grass and vegetation still alive. That's where you're going to find some of your best fish. then they may also push up shallow as well. Another little added tip a lot of guys don't talk about, regardless of the lake or body of water, when the water is raising, the fish will push shallow. When the water is dropping, the fish will usually pull back. So, you know, we're going to be having some rain. These lakes are going to be coming up soon. And obviously we're only about a month and a half away from the beginning of spawn probably. And we should have some spotted bass setting up for pre-spawn if they haven't already. They should be starting to move into those positions. Depends, but that's just my take on this year. We have a drought year this year. It's been exceptionally warm and we haven't had a lot of rain. So it doesn't hurt to check up shallow. Just remember the same principles apply though, even up shallow. Just move your bait really slow and you'll find, ooh, bald eagle just dove into the water and got a fish. Man, that was wicked. Oh, lift him out the boat. Much shallow, much smaller, not what we're after. Small male. So came off of the Biggie Papa crankbait. Let's turn you guys around. Came off the Biggie Papa crankbait here. So just stuck another one. You don't always have to just fish achingly slow in the winter. I mean, you do have to fish slow a lot of the times. That doesn't mean you just have to fish with the drop shot. Hope this helps. You're going to get a much better hookup ratio if you have your pole pointed at the bait. Now what I'm going to do though is I'm going to give it just a soft lift of my tip. And I watch my line. Let me hit spot lock. And I'm just basically jigging this thing in. And what I want to feel is I want to feel the vibrations of those rattles like a spinnerbait. If I don't feel those vibrations, I know one of two things has happened. Either my hooks, I got all tangled up with my line, or I'm in some weeds, right? Or a fish, right? A fish, you're usually going to at least feel something, a tick. You're going to feel sometimes a smash. It just depends on how the bite is. But you'll notice sometimes what I'll do is I'll even grab the pole right here, right? Just to kind of give it a little extra torque. If I feel I'm in grass or weeds, and I can pull it out without ripping it really hard and covering a huge, you know, or losing a huge gap of my fishing strike zone, if that makes sense. So, because sometimes this thing will get in weeds, right? And then in order to clear it off of the weeds, you gotta rip it, right? Well, you'll see some of the times what I'll do is I'll just take it and just do a quick little like that. And then what I like to do is I like to follow my rattle trap down kind of slowly. I let it sink at its natural rate, but I don't like a ton of slack, because just like when you're fishing a spoon, I don't want my line to get all tangled up into the rattle trap. So I'm going to fish it kind of similar to what you do a spoon, so that when, you know, it drops, it's not all knotted up, and then I don't go to do this and it's all. So hope these tips and tricks help. Again, one other way we're going to show you how to use the rattle trap is going to be, again, the jigging method that I was showing you guys. We're going to cast it out far. We're going to let it sink. We're going to watch our line. And what we're looking for, we're going to point our pole directly at it as much as we can. And what we're going to be doing is we just want to feel the vibration of those rattles for a brief moment, to know that it doesn't have anything on it and that it's not all twisted and tangled up. So I'm just going to give it a brief lift like that. There we go. And I'm just going to jig this thing in.
That's all I'm gonna do with small hops. And then when I feel that I'm in some weeds or something, I'm basically gonna rip it out, right? That's what it is, it's a rip bait. So that way I don't bring a ton of weeds in with me, and that can create a reaction strike. And this soft jigging can also get a finesse bite. So it's kind of like the best of both worlds right here. You can create a reaction strike by a nice rip, and it covers some water all of a sudden and moves erratically and fast, or kind of a finesse bite by just hopping it along real slow. You're not leaving the ground much, you're barely making maybe 6-inch to foot hops. See right there, I'm in some weeds. So what I'll do is, there we go, out. You're real easy. That's how I'm gonna work the jigging method, and it's like use it like a search bait. And that's how I'm gonna do it in places that have weeds and places that are shallow. Now if I'm in a place like Eastman, I'm probably going to avoid the trees and target rocks and certain things that I know are not going to cost me 20 bucks or 15 bucks every cast, you know. So I hope these tips and tricks help out. We're going to show you how to use the rattle trap as a yo-yo bait now. So believe it or not, even if you're in shallow water, you can still yo-yo this thing. What I like to do, take my spot lock off. I'll even shut down my fish finder right there. You know, if I'm just gonna drift slowly, then what I'll do here is, especially if I'm on a weed edge or I'm on an area where I know these fish are there, then what I'm gonna do is let it drop down slowly and controlled, so that my line again does not get tangled in the rattle trap. Now, part of the success of the rattle trap, especially the LV500, is how much it weighs and how it falls, I believe, compared to a cotton cordell and other brand of rattle traps. I think that's why the LV500 works so much better, is it just has a different action. So when you're yo-yoing it, all you want to do is just make sure that you can feel that vibration, and then when you drop down, make sure that you're dropping fast enough for there to be somewhat of some slack in the line, but not so fast that you're going like this. Watch, because then what happens is you're going to bring it up, and a lot of time your rattle trap's going to come all tangled up inside itself. Let's see if we can get it to do it. Oh, see, look right there. All right, guys and gals, we're going to show you how to yo-yo a rattle trap. So even though I'm in shallow water, usually this is a technique you're going to use when you see suspended fish just off the bottom, and you can target them almost like a drop shot. So in the shallow water, say I know I'm on a weed edge and I've got a little bit of a breeze, what I like to do is kind of just let the breeze push me along. I'll work, say, that shoreline, weed edge, whatever I know they're in, and I'll just kind of let the wind drift me, and you can just use it almost like a drop shot. So one of the tickets is, again, I think one of the big differences between an LV500 and like a cotton cordell or any of the other ones is that it's heavier and that it falls different. So one of the things I want you to try to practice doing when yo-yoing a rattle trap is let it fall at its natural rate, but don't let it fall so much that you have slack like that. So you let it barely have any slack, because what's going to happen is you're going to bring your rattle trap up like this. See? If you let it fall too quickly and you don't kind of guide it down, this is going to happen. See? So what I recommend is go ahead and guide it down. Once you feel it hit, stop right away. Boom, okay? Then what I'm going to do is yo-yo it. Now I'm only going to lift it up a certain amount. I might start with just a few inches. And if I really want to get going, I might do a 2 or 3 foot yo-yo. It depends. Deeper water, you may do a bigger yo-yo. Shallow water, I may just do a small, simple yo-yo like this. I may not even do much lifting, you know, just a couple inches. But again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of follow it down a little bit. I want it to fall on slack line, see? So I don't want my line tight. I don't want my line tight at all. but I don't want it so slack that that slack line gets tangled up in them hooks, just like I showed you. So you do this here. It's kind of boring somewhat, but you cover a little bit of water, let the wind push you around, or bump the trolling motor every once in a while, especially if you're on a weed edge or some piece of structure like a dock or a tree or something. Sit there and fish it. If you know there's fish on it, you can do this right here and just play around with your cadence, like as far as how high are you ripping it off the bottom, and then once it's there, are you letting it sit for a few seconds like a dead stick, or are you just constantly yo-yoing it like this? So change some of the stuff that you're doing. Now, added little bonus, when you are in a deep lake, what I like to do is, unless I know exactly, you know, the fish are right here, but if they're kind of some on the bottom, some popped up a little bit, I'll drop this thing all the way down to the bottom. I'll let it hit the ground, and then I'll work it for about a minute or two in the first foot range, right? Little hops. Then what I'll do is I'll reel it up a couple of feet, and then I'll do the same thing. And then I'll reel it up a couple of feet, and then I'll do the same thing. That way I could be over 60 feet of water, right? I could be in 60 feet of water and use my rattle trap in the first foot of water, and then in the second 3 or 4 feet of water, and then into 5 or 8 feet, 8 to 10, 10 to 12, 12, 15, 20, 25, so on and so forth. And I can yo-yo it up to the surface. And a lot of times you'll get cracked doing that too. So I hope these winter tips and tricks help out. Get out there on the lake, put time in on the water. That's really the biggest factor in getting better in fishing.